So I'm not entirely sure how this video is going to do, honestly, because a lot of times my bigger reviews for things like other TV shows or other games or other movies like this that aren't related to the DC or Marvel TV shows, they don't do near as well as those reviews. But yeah, if you haven't yet, please remember to subscribe if you're new to this channel. I make a lot of DC and Marvel videos. And yeah, so Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League is finally here. Now, real quick, I just want to say that I actually did like the 2017 version. I enjoyed it for what it was. It definitely was weird. It definitely was messy. It's a weird fucking film, okay? But I enjoyed it for what it was when I first watched it in cinema. I've watched it, I think, twice since then, and it has gotten worse every time, but I still think there's stuff in there that's really fun to watch. And I honestly did never think that the Snyder Cut would get released. I never told people to stop hoping for it, because I did want it to be released, but I just didn't think it was likely. I just kind of was like, it's a director's cut. Maybe we'll see it in 10 or so years, like the Donner Cut, where it took them 20 years to release it. But I'm not entirely sure we'll get this anytime soon. So, yeah, but after seeing this film, please restore the Snyderverse, because this was absolutely phenomenal. I am a huge fan of Batman v Superman, and this was such a good continuation of that story, of Zack Snyder's trilogy for the DC films. I just thought, this just blew me away, honestly. Like, I was excited going into it, but I after seeing the 2017 version, you know, you can't let yourself get too crazy hyped, because I just thought that while I would recognize a lot of new stuff, it's probably going to be more or less the same story beats. But no, this completely changes everything. Even the scenes from the 2017 version that are in this film are completely different, like to an insane extent. There was a scene towards the beginning where Diana goes into the, I forget what it is it an art museum or something? But she goes in there to take down the terrorists. And she picks one of them up with the Lasso of Truth when she first gets there. And this was a scene that I thought was kind of stupid in the 2017 version, just because of the way it was edited, the way the music was in the background, the way the two people spoke. It just didn't seem very good to me. So I was kind of bracing myself to also feel like that seems a little bit cringy here. Nope. They say the exact same things, the exact same dialogue, but it is so much better, and I can't explain it. I don't even know if it's the editing, if it's the music, if it's the color palette. It just is so much better. It's insane. Now, Ray Fisher's Cyborg was also a character I wasn't crazy about after the 2017 version. I thought he was just fine, but after seeing that film, he was not a character that I would have said, I really want to see a solo movie with him. When everyone was like, oh, he's going to be in the Flash movie, now he might not be anymore, obviously, because of a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff, which, accountability over entertainment, but I didn't think he was a character that I needed to see in the Flash movie, just because after the 2017 version, I wasn't too crazy about the character. This completely changes that. I know Zack Snyder said a long time ago that Victor Stone is the heart of this film. I didn't believe him. But after seeing this film, I completely agree, because he is phenomenal in this. There isn't one scene with him in this that I didn't absolutely love. And the way that we go into his technological mind is just done so well. It's so unique and like nothing I've ever seen before. The scene where he gives the $100,000 to the mother who's been kicked out of her home because of her rent, that was a great scene. I know Doom Patrol did something very similar, which now seems to be that Jeff Johns from Doom Patrol stole that idea from this after it wasn't used in this, so that really sucks if true, but it was great here. The music that plays, he has this really cool kind of like technological kind of theme going on in the background, and it really works with his character. And the acting by Ray is phenomenal. The scene especially where he's talking to his mother is fantastic, and just overall, after seeing this movie, I need a Cyborg solo movie. Like, where is it? I've never even been a big fan of Cyborg as a character. I thought he was a little bit uninteresting. With the Teen Titans, I thought he was uninteresting. When he was in Smallville, I thought he was uninteresting. But this is the first version of the character that I've absolutely loved, and I need to see more of. And on a lot of the same path is Ezra's Barry Allen, Ezra Miller's Barry Allen. He was a character that I don't want to say I hated in the 2017 version, but I really did not like this interpretation of Barry. It was just kind of weird to me. this completely changed that. Some stuff from the 2017 version that's in here is still a little bit weird to me, but as a whole, I really enjoyed his character in this. I think that most scenes with him were perfect. The Speed Force scene, that was like nothing else I've seen in a DC film, and it was fantastic. And now, just like with Ray's Victor, I need to see more of Ezra's Barry. I need him to come back for more films after his Flash solo movie. So that's a huge plus. That's already 2 characters that this movie vastly improved on. Ben Affleck's Batman, obviously, as well as Ben Affleck's version of the character is the only version of the character that I absolutely adore. I don't hate Batman. I actually do like Batman. I just think that DC way overuses his characters and needs to start giving shine to other characters outside of Batman. Like, I think Christopher Nolan's Batman is very overrated. I think Michael Keaton's Batman is very overrated. This version of the character, though, in Batman v Superman and in this, I absolutely love. I think that he's the one version of the character that I can just completely get behind, and really am interested in him when he is on screen. Plus, he's one of the only actors who came back to film new scenes for this film, so, you know, props to him. Obviously, he wants to be Batman again, and I completely respect that, so I'm hoping that if this does well enough and we get a Justice League 2, my fingers are crossed that people like Ray Fisher, Ben Affleck, and Henry Cavill will all be open to returning. Gal Diana was great as well. She had a really cool, like, Amazon kind of background theme anytime she'd show up on screen. That was perfect. And honestly, she was the one character who, like, besides Superman, I mean, out of the 5 Justice Leaguers for most of the film, she was the one character that Steppenwolf was scared of, and even says as much when he's like, you weren't there to protect them from me, and sadly you could have. Like, that's a tiny inkling of respect between 2 warriors, and I absolutely love that. It just shows how much of a badass Diana is, that she's the one person out of the 5 big Justice Leaguers that Steppenwolf is actually kind of scared of and actually can fight back. So that was really cool. Jason Momoa's Arthur was the one of the 6 Justice Leaguers I thought was a little bit weak in this film. I just didn't think he did anything of any importance. I really do like this characterization of the character, honestly, in this. He had some really good lines that weren't in the 2017 cut, so there is some stuff improved on him in here. But I just, in general, didn't think he did near as much as any of the other Justice Leaguers did for me, personally. But it's probably because, besides, you know, he's not like Barry or Victor, where I felt that they were done in Injustice in 2017. I think that Arthur's Aquaman was portrayed alright in the 2017 version, and he was still portrayed pretty good here, so it's not like he needed to be improved on. And let's talk about the nightmare scene real quick, as that was one of the only 2 scenes that was actually had new stuff filmed for this. I'm pretty sure it was just the nightmare scene and then the very final scene with Bruce and J'onn J'onzz. I think they were the only scenes actually filmed for this new cut. But obviously nightmare scene brought back Jared Leto's Joker. We saw Joe's, I'm not even trying to pronounce his second name, but we saw Joe's Deathstroke come back for new stuff, which is really cool as well. The scene did feel a little random, a little bit tacked on, but I really enjoyed it. Jared Leto's dialogue against Ben's Batman was everything I would have wanted from a meeting of their 2 characters. It was just really stellar overall. One thing I do want to say, though, is why is Mira all of a sudden British? Because she was not British in the theatrical cut. She was not British in the Aquaman movie. So, it's weird. Same with Vulko. I can't remember him being British in the Aquaman film either. So I'm wondering if, like, the original idea was for all Atlanteans to sound very British, sound very English, and now they just changed that for the solo film. Yeah, it was a bit weird. Steppenwolf was, surprisingly enough, a great villain. I was not expecting much out of him in this film, but he completely blew me away. He was sympathetic, he was very well written, he had great scenes, he had very good facial animation. I still think the armor looks a little bit weird, but it's not even a huge complaint. But speaking of that, some of the CGI was still a little bit shaky, not near as bad as how it looked in the 2017 version, but some of it definitely could have used a teeny bit more polish, but it wasn't too noticeable. Just sometimes, like Cyborg especially, I don't think they've perfected how his armor looks in live action just yet. I actually think Doom Patrol does a good job at showing his armor, but for this, where you always just look at his complete shiny armor, I don't think they've exactly perfected how that should look in live action just yet. Superman, obviously, favorite superhero of all time. He is the best superhero of all time, let's be real. He did not get a lot of screen time in this film, maybe 10 to 15 minutes at most, but when he was on screen, you felt that it was him. He was the person that Darkseid, that Steppenwolf that the mother boxes were scared of. You know, you only attack Earth when there's no Kryptonian, and he came back and he just completely demolished Steppenwolf in seconds. It was perfect. He even I love the scene where he came back. You know, he did the not impressed. You could hear the triumphant Man of Steel music in the background, and then him, Diana, and Arthur are just passing Steppenwolf to each other, back and forth, back and forth. That was just phenomenal. That and the Speed Force scene are my two favorite scenes of the film for sure. Another small complaint is that I guess the first hour and a half felt a tad too long. I'm not entirely sure if they couldn't have cut a few little stuff out of there, just because I know by the end of part 3 I was getting a little bit, I was feeling like too little was happening in my opinion. Then with part 4 the whole film sped up again, but yeah, it just maybe trimmed down a little bit, like half an hour maybe could have been cut out, or some scenes could have been edited a little bit more tightly. But that's not even a huge complaint. You know, I still loved seeing an extra half hour of Justice League. The soundtrack was absolutely stellar. My biggest annoyance with the 2017 version is how Danny Elfman butchered that soundtrack. I don't know what he was trying to do. None of it worked. In this, however, it was just perfect. I loved everything. We see Martian Manhunter in this, which his scenes also felt a teeny bit out of place, but I still thought he was great in this. The Amazon stuff was all amazing, especially the fight scene at the beginning. That was also something they actually did kind of well in the 2017 version, but it was just so much better in this. Darkseid and Apocalypse, they are coming for Earth, and we need a Justice League too. That's really all I can say, is that just we need to see the follow-up to this. But yeah, I absolutely love the film. Honestly, not a lot could have been done to make it better for me. I need this. I need the sequel. I need the third one as well. But how did you feel about the film? Did you like it? Did you hate it? And please remember to like, share, subscribe, and all of that. And I hope you have a great day.